Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Really excited for today's episode. Glad you could join us. Thanks for making time to be with us. We've got my old friend, good friend, Andy Anson on. Andy is involved here in the community in many ways. He's part of the ownership group of Channel 7, the local TV station here. He is the lead developer for Miramar Park of Commerce, as well as a project he's got going across from the east side to the west side of the 79th Street Causeway. So we're going to talk with Andy about, in our continuing series of Miami past, present, and future. Andy's going to give us his perspective of what he's seen, what he's got going on today, and what he's going to see. I want to thank this is episode 863. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. Remind everybody our sponsors for, I guess, about 800 of those episodes for 15, 16 years at this point is our friend at Warren Henry Automotive, our friends at Warren Henry Automotive. Thanks to Larry, Eric, Ismit, of course, Warren, and all our friends at Warren Henry Automotive. Remember to check out Warren Henry. They've got locations all around the state. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. We're streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. And with that, I want to remind everybody our guest today is Andy Ansin, and Miami Podcast student. There he is, Andy Ansin. How are you, Andy?
Hey, Jim. Good to see you.
Doing very great. Well. Yeah, that's tremendous. Thanks for joining us today. I know that you're not the first visionary in your family in the real estate game. That somebody predated you, got some tremendous real estate holdings, and that you've helped to build those out. And that's about as much of a preamble as I'm going to give you. Tell us a little bit about you and your family's historic perspective on South Florida.
Okay, well, historically, we really go back to my great-grandfather, who used to come down here on vacation. And then my grandfather is the one that started acquiring property in South Florida. And he bought our original holdings in Miramar. And then it's actually somewhat by accident in that he had sent a broker down to buy property in Pembroke Pines. But back then it was very hard to tell because everything was underwater. The Army Corps hadn't built the canals yet. And when my grandfather came down to see what he had purchased, he had bought the wrong property. So we ended up with this land in Miramar. And my father and he then acquired more property. At one point, we owned 2,000 acres. And my father is the one. My grandfather was more of kind of a speculator. He might have been like an internet stock day trader. He wasn't one that really had great vision or would put in a management team to increase value. He just as soon sell the property the next day. My father was really more the manager and the type that would add value. So we worked with the city. We did a DRI. We sold off some of the acreage, added more acreage, built the Miramar Park of Commerce. So we now have 5 million square feet of industrial and single-story office space on 500 acres. And then my vision has been to take the remaining tract that we have, which is 100 acres at Miramar Parkway and Red Road, just north of the Turnpike interchange, and build a large lifestyle center. So we have been entitled by the city to do close to 3,000 units plus several 100,000 square feet of retail and office, and we'll be breaking ground on that this month.
Wow, that's tremendous. And what a great location, a great regional location, easy to Dade, easy to Broward, all the jobs. And then you've got all those jobs next to it. And the only thing missing has been a place for people to stay in place. And now it sounds like you've got that going. Tell me a little bit about some of your other plans that you have for the future.
Well, we also, Channel 7, we've owned Channel 7 and operated it from North Bay Village for over 60 years. My grandfather, similarly, he bought that in kind of his very creative way, figured out the TV station business was a good one to be in. And the way he figured that out is we owned property right on the county line on the Dade County side. And the original operators of TV down here was Channel 4, the CBS affiliate at that time. And they came and made him an offer. You had to buy 10 acres minimum to put up a television tower. And the reason was in case the tower fell down that you wouldn't hit anything. So they came and he had an asking price, and they didn't negotiate. They paid it. Channel 10 got the next license, and they came and they spoke to my grandfather and said, we need 10 acres. And he doubled the price. And they said, fine, we'll take it. At which point he said, well, if these people are willing to pay so much money, it must be a good business. And he put in his hat in the ring to get the Channel 7 affiliation. But the Cox Knight Trammell people, which was Cox Broadcasting, Knight Ritter, Miami Herald, and Trammell, who was the former president of NBC, had put together a partnership, and they ended up getting the license. But 3 years later, long story, they lost the license. And my grandfather was the only one left that hadn't improperly interfered with the FCC officials. And the magistrate brought him up and said, Mr. Anson, you're the only one that hasn't interfered with the FCC officials. Why is that? And if you knew my grandfather, it was a really good question, because he is like the most likely person to have interfered with FCC officials. He had a cabana at the Eden Rock, a cabana at the Fontainebleau. You can see the old pictures. He was playing poker. They had the cocktail waitresses skimpily clad, and they're smoking their cigars. It was like something out of the Rat Pack. And he absolutely would have invited the FCC officials to come down and hang out and play cards with him in one of these cabanas. But his attorney at the time, the FCC attorney, told him, look, don't talk to any of the FCC officials. So when the magistrate asked him, well, why didn't you have any interference? He said, at the advice of my counsel, I had no interference with any FCC official, and we got the license. And my dad really was the one that built it into the news station that it is today. But the time had really come to move the station off of North Bay Village. The values weren't quite where they are today, but we can see that they were increasing. And we're right now under construction for our new studio in Miramar, which happens to be in our business park, Miramar Park of Commerce that I mentioned before. So we should be out middle of next year is the goal, to be on air from Miramar by May of 2027.
Well, that's great. And by the way, thank you for the tour of the existing Channel 7. It's really kind of fascinating to walk through there and feel all the history and see all the history. And got to give a shout out to your team, the Goggins family. They've always been tremendous in helping execute this. Just both Jim and his son are wonderful people. I've really enjoyed my time with them.
Yeah, Jim and Ryan have been great. We have a lot of long-term employees. Many of them are 40 years old or more, and a number of them, unfortunately, now are retiring. But we have a new group of people coming in and have a lot of confidence.
So, Channel 7 will be vacating its tremendous location on the bay, on that beautiful corner of the waterway. What's going on? I know you've got some pretty significant plans for that area. Kind of help us understand what that is and how you see that kind of fitting into the whole vision of South Florida, where you've played a really big role.
Happy to talk about that in a moment, but I should just kind of make a shout out. We are both now Channel 7 and Channel 18. Last summer, we picked up the ABC affiliation. So on Channel 7, we have Fox. On Channel 18, we have ABC programming. And then we simulcast the news that we do on 7 News. So the broadcast industry has been a very difficult business to be in. But with the duopoly, as they call it, 2 stations, we've made our a business that was very difficult into one that is better. So both stations, 7 and 18, will be moving out to Miramar, which will then allow us to execute our master plan for North Bay Village. Over the last 5 years or so, we've been able to aggregate 13 acres of land, half a mile of bayfront on Biscayne Bay. And our first building will be a 250-unit apartment building just across the street, the south side of 79th Street, just across the street from Channel 7. We plan to do that as a very, very high-end apartment building, something that really hardly anyone else could build, not simply because of the location, because of the cost. But we feel in the long term, we'd rather have apartments than to be selling property, which we feel will even continue to escalate more in value in the future. So we went to the city, North Bay Village, they had recently changed their zoning to allow more height and density. We got a development agreement worked out with them with the help of John Shubin and his team at Euclid. We were able to go as high as 650 feet in 6 or 7 towers. And this will be the first one that we move forward on that.
So that's really exciting. North Bay Village has been somewhat sleepy. I remember going there and playing skee ball on the north side of the village, and
Yeah,
had the first
fun fair.
At Fun Fair. Yes, I still probably have tickets if I really wanted to go look in my storage unit. And then my first, I'll say it. I hope I don't embarrass her. My first kiss with my wife was over there by the marina on the north side, though. Walking out.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so I've always had a great feel for that whole area, and then of course growing up here, going up over the old 79th Street Bridge and now the new one. So it's really a great location, and I think right in the middle of the bay there is extraordinarily attractive. It's got great views and great access and great livability and visibility. So that's putting a pretty big bet on South Florida. South Florida has been changing even in the 5 years since you've been accumulating that land. There's been a lot of changes that have gone on. What do you see as far as the staying power of the evolution of Miami and the direction that you see Miami going, and your firm's role in it by being technology entrepreneurs, developers of multifamily, retail, office, and industrial? Gosh, is there a food group that you guys don't think about?
Part of our role we see as being, Channel 7 and 8, Channel 7 and Channel 18, and together with our foundation to help the nonprofits in town that they do a terrific job. We're very involved with United Way. This weekend, I was just down in Naranja with Habitat for Humanity and a big project they just started moving people into there. And we feel the TV station helps amplify the message of a number of these very good organizations. And then through our foundation, we're able to help them financially as well. So we feel very fortunate that we've had as much success as we had in South Florida, and feel it's very important to give back. I think that there's an unlimited demand for people and companies that want to come down to South Florida. But I think the groups have kind of properly pointed out that we have 3 things holding us back: traffic, affordability, particularly affordability housing, and the limited number of high quality classroom seats in the schools. I've made it kind of a mission to help that third one, having been on the board of a private high school for the last 16 years. We've seen many families that have basically said flat out, we won't come to South Florida unless our kids can get into one of the better schools. And it's very hard to get into those schools. And a lot of times they're picking where they live based upon what school they can get into, particularly because traffic has become so difficult. So I've kind of put my focus on the northeast end of the county. There's really a very limited number of schools, particularly when you compare it to what you have available in the southern part of the county. And we're under contract for a large site, and then we will try to facilitate improving education in the area through that site by both attracting a school as well as helping the existing schools improve so there can be more good classroom seats.
Well, that's great. I wouldn't be so bold as to ask you to identify the location of the school, but I think if you're saying Northeast Dade, I think that's extraordinarily important, being that I'm a North Miami Beach Charger. I certainly recognize the need for good quality school seats up there in the northeast part of the county. What do you think is the future of South Florida from an economic development situation? You said that you see an unlimited demand for companies, and we've seen a lot of companies announce or have already moved here. A lot of high profile people that own those companies have moved here. But used to be that they said that it was tourism, farming, and tourism, farming. What was the third one? Miami Podcast Studios. Anyway, tourism and farm. Oh, and real estate, hospitality. Real estate's driven by all those. So that was really what was going on. Real estate for sure, but we're running out of we're running out of land, and I would say that we're not really running out of verticality. I do think that the quality of life issues are going to come and slow it down somewhat. I've always thought that all the development needed to be concentrated, and each neighborhood needed to be what I call vertically integrated, have, schools, jobs, residential, office, and retail all in one space. So people really didn't need to get out of their car too often. You're developing Miramar, the Miramar neighborhood, we'll call it. You're developing the neighborhood around the current Channel 7 neighborhood. What are you bringing to that 79th Street area that's going to help it become vertically integrated and people to stay out of their cars?
Okay. Well, the good thing is there's a Publix coming at the Shoma project just down the street on 79th Street. We will have some service retail in our first building, and we'll also have some restaurants that open up to the channel in the bay and will be very visible as you come over from Miami. The last bridge will look right at those buildings. So I think that'll create a lot of vibrancy and kind of a new look for North Bay Village, which has really kind of been in a time capsule for the last 30, 40 years maybe. And continuing to have more retail will be very important in order to have the type of community that you're describing, have a live, work, play. So you don't necessarily have to leave the island to go and take care of everything. And then you also have we have the ability to build office space there. So the ideal situation would be a company comes down, they want to build an office headquarters. They need a place for their employees to live, whether it be in condominiums being built by Continuum. Related's talked about a project they're planning with St. Regis and others that are coming. The Publix project, the Shoma will have condos, or they can rent in our building, build their office space. There's some very good quality bayfront property still in Normandy Shores, where maybe the executive would live at a price point that's more reasonable than some of the other neighborhoods in Miami Beach, and really create that live, work, play environment right there.
Are you going to have any cultural, any entertainment type of facilities out there?
That's a good question. My mom founded the Miami City Ballet. We just had a 85th birthday with her, and the birthday party was a ballet. We commissioned a ballet for her. So if my mom has anything to say about it, yes, we'll definitely have a cultural.
Well, that's tremendous. Now, we've talked about the areas that you're invested in. What do you see as the big challenge for Miami-Dade County and our region of South Florida? I won't make you go talk about anything bigger than that.
I think that the biggest challenge is affordability, the affordability of housing. I'm very aware of that, having just spent Saturday down at Habitat for Humanity, and the person who was taking the new home was a vet and had been a Marine, and he was going to leave. He was going to move to Orlando because he couldn't afford to live anywhere other than his parents' house. But through Habitat for Humanity, he was able to have an affordable home. But not everyone meets that criteria, and Habitat can only provide so many houses a year. So I think that's the biggest issue is the affordability of housing and having the housing near the employment. There are a lot of people who are going to be living in that United Way community, but they are not. They're still going to have to drive an hour and a half to get to work because they can't afford to live near where their employment is. And unfortunately, it doesn't work for them to take the new bus and Metro Rail. So they're driving, and that only makes the traffic problems worse. Whereas if you can come up with a affordable live, work, play environment, you can address that traffic issue right on.
Well, I'm going to ask you to stick around. We're going to do a quick little ad for our friends at Warren Henry. Then we're going to come back with the bottom line. So I'm hoping you can stick with us, Andy.
Oh, certainly. Happy to.
Sounds great. Miami Podcast Studios, that's your cue. right, I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry Automotive. We're going into, I don't know what year of them supporting us. They've been here virtually since the beginning. And I want to remind everybody, if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you always want to get every advantage that you can. That's why I have to check out Warren Henry Land Rover, Range Rover, Jaguar, and their new Lincoln line that they sell up at their headquarters flagship station at 151st and Biscayne. They've also got a store down in the Keys that sells all the great nameplates. They've got a store in Gainesville that sells Audis, and yes, they have their award-winning Land Rover, Range Rover stores in South Dade and in West Broward. So no matter what type of vehicle you're looking for, what kind of price point, Warren Henry's got you covered. Join me, my beautiful wife, Vivian, my mom, lots and lots of my clients and friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
The last word, the big takeaway, and I want to really, can you bring back Andy? There you go. All right. He says I go too fast for him, Andy. I've got to go slower. So Andy, we've talked a lot about the past, present, and future vision that you and your team have for South Florida. What do you think is the most important thing that's going to happen here in the next 5 to 7 years in South Florida?
Well, certainly the World Cup is a big deal. Bring a tremendous amount of visibility. Very good for our TV business too, for that matter. But I think that's good. And I think it's good because it just creates, more of a sense that Miami is really the right place to be. It's so centrally located with Europe, Latin America, the United States, the quality of life that we have here. I think it's just going to continue to, motivate people, make people aware of the opportunities here.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. Being in the real estate business myself, I just think that it's going to lift all the boats. The rising tide is going to lift all the boats. It's going to be a tremendous boon to us. The World Cup. We also have the baseball, World Baseball Classic. So that brings everybody here too, sort of in that round robin. I think that the international view is broadening. It used to be that all that people came was to fill up their suitcases with goods and bring them home to Latin America. And now I think that there's a lot more things going on as our economy becomes more and more diversified. Your success out at Miramar and your pending successes out on the 79th Street Causeway are certainly going to show that. And I want to thank you for recognizing that we need more education options, certainly in Northeast Dade County. And so I want to thank you as a member of the community for doing that as well. If you don't mind, we're gonna kind of wrap up. If you could stick with me, I got a couple things to ask you in the green room, but I want to thank Andy Anson, Andrew Ansin. Put up Andrew. I always call him Andy. I hope it's okay to call you Andy.
Andy's fine. That's good.
All right.
We're friends.
Great. Thank you. So stick with us. I want to thank you for being on the show, Andy. We'll see you in the green room in a minute.
Thank you, Jim.
My pleasure. Now, I want to remind everybody to contact me, Jim Freed. I'm the founder and chairperson and president of Sandstone Realty Advisors. People go, what do you do for a living, Jim? Well, what I do for a living is I get people to call me back, and I solve people's problems across the spectrum of business and real estate. I do that with a high quality ability to get people on and analyze transactions and put them together. I work with family office, international investors, institutions, local investors, community banks, you name it. Depending on the issue you have to solve, I know who to call, and they'll pick up my call in a kind way and give me a fast answer, which is sometimes the most important part of all. So reach out to me, call me. You've got my information down there in the bottom of the in the bottom of the screen. And I want to remind everybody, if you've missed today's episode, you can check out the replay on any of our socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Look for @JimFried or @FriedOnBusiness. Head on over to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your audio, you can get Fried on Business. And Miami Podcast Studios has shown me how we're getting more and more downloads on an exponential basis. It's really kind of gratifying. I want to thank our sponsors at Warren Henry Automotive. I want to thank our friends at the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies for also being a sponsor for many years. We'll have some more real estate oriented content on from UF in the next couple of weeks. I want to remind everybody, my good friend Andy Anson is a great example of this saying, the person who wants to do something finds a way, the other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. The rest of the podcast show is yours, Miami Podcast Studios. Please do your magic.